In 1997, professional wrestling was the hottest thing on the planet. You had the Monday Night Wars, you had WWF, WCW. But it's a good thing that those jokers didn't have to wrestle our guest here today from Campbell County. Sir, if you would, tell us who you are.
Justin Sainer from wrestling class of 1997, state champion, 215 pounds.
And, of course, this is your review video for that 215-pound state championship.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for being here today. As you can tell by the trophies, we got a whole bunch of them here. We're in the Campbell County.
There's a couple.
A couple. I think there's 4 team state championships, 1990, 91, 2004, and 2012. 30 individual state champions. You account for one of those 30. And we're here in the wrestling room, really nice wrestling room here at Campbell County. I don't know exactly how big it is, but I see probably about 6-7 pieces of a mat laid out, so it's a pretty big. Now, was this the same room that you wrestled in?
This was where I finished my high school career. When I started, it was at the Campbell County Middle School.
Okay.
Currently,
I got
so
you.
It was the old Campbell County High School, and we did everything back in the cafeteria area.
Okay. Does it? I guess what your senior year? Did you finish here?
Yeah, my junior and senior year. I came
Does
here.
it still feel the same heat-wise and have the same?
I'm already getting all hot and sweaty.
That lovely aroma that only a wrestling room can replicate.
Yep.
So kind of walk us through. I guess you're a senior in 97, so you're what, in middle school, elementary school when Campbell County wins their 90 and 91 team state championships?
I was, yeah, and funny little history on that. My brother was actually part of that team, so he was part of the championship wrestling.
In 90 and 91?
90 and 91.
Wow, that's good. And I guess going watching Big Brother wrestle got you into it, or?
I went with him and my dad every single time. Yeah.
And the amount of people from across the state, from across the years that have said something to that effect of, I would go with Dad, I would go watch Big Brother, or my cousins, or whoever it was, and then they can kind of continue the lineage, if you will, the family legacy. And in some cases, even like a neighborhood legacy, because we go to some places like Hoptown, and there's 3 or 4 state champions different years, all from the same street, from the same neighborhood. And you're like, that's kind of cool that it's that kind of I don't want to say a closed, that's not really the right word, but like such a close knit, whether it's county kids staying with the county, city kids staying with the city. But do you wrestle all the way through middle school? Do you wrestle through high school? How does that go for you?
For me, all I did was straight into high school.
Okay.
And that kind of goes into a bit of a funny story. When I was a freshman in high school, the biggest thing I wanted to do was play basketball. So we tried out for the basketball team. I briefly made it, but then I got cut shortly after that.
Well, that happens.
I didn't want to have time where I didn't have anything to do, so I wanted to play a sport.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since my brother wrestled, my mom and dad both said, "Why don't you try wrestling out? Coach Camper would love to have you on there." So that's what I did, and we're not going to relive my first year, all the scores and stats with that one.
It happens.
We'll ignore that one, yeah. So my sophomore year came around, and I tried out for basketball again, and Coach Camper and Coach Wilbur, they were both like, how long are we going to have to keep doing this little, ring around? I'm like, just, let me try out. And I didn't make it that year, so they're like, well, come on back to wrestling. So I did, and ultimately that's where I ended up sticking with it. And then they asked me again, you going to try out for basketball again? I'm like, no, I'm done.
Done.
So, and ultimately it worked out a lot better.
It absolutely did. Now, as a junior, 1996, I have you 215 pounds, third place.
Yes.
And I don't have who you beat, but still third place, only 3 years in. I mean, 215 pounds, man, there's men in that weight class.
There is. So, when I was wrestling 215, I was weighing about 185.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Coach Bancaber had talked to me and my mom and dad, about wrestling up a higher weight class, because we already had it pretty well settled on the 189 weight class.
Okay.
And I believe Jason Bill was there for both those years. So he said, would you mind wrestling up? I think you could do all right with it. And, when you see the guys a higher weight class, I mean, their muscles are awful muscles. I'm like, man, I don't know about this. But they instilled the faith in my parents and in me. And like, you've got what it takes. You just gotta have faith in yourself. I'm like, all right, well, we'll give it a try. And it was still one of those things. I was a skinny little lanky kind of kid and everything. I didn't have a whole lot of muscles built up myself.
Yeah.
But my junior and senior year is when I really started taking it a lot more serious and really putting in the work into it. And my height, my length, my speed, it countered all the muscles that all the other guys had, so it made me a lot more competitive.
And a little tidbit here that a lot of people don't know, and that's why I love part of doing this series, is getting history out, is 1996 was the first year, of course, at the Dungeon, but it was also the first year that Kentucky adopted the 215-pound weight class. Yeah. Because before, we only had 13 weight classes, and it went from 185 to heavy, and then 96 comes around, 215. So did you know 215 pounds was going to be a weight class before season?
I did not. No,
okay.
Actually, Coach Bankamper was the one that told me that they just introduced.
I was going to say, if anybody should have known, it should have been Coach Bankamper, because he's,
he knows it all.
he's very connected in the sport of wrestling across the state and across the country, and which I don't know if I've mentioned that in other videos, but it is cool to know that that weight. Because, 185 pounds to 275 was too big of a gap for a class not to be there somewhere. And in case you're wondering, yes, we are supposed to meet with another 220-pound state champion from Campbell County that you guys have been asking about since the series started. But you got it started. You were the 215-pound flag bearer for Campbell County. You always can say you're the first.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, you can always say you were the first 215-pound state champion in the state of Kentucky. All right. Well, the second. Second. But
first one.
First for Campbell County, and of course your team gets third place that year. And like you said, you guys can see if we put the state championship trophies, runner-up, and third place, we wouldn't have a big enough table behind us to put all that on there.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Because
you need a whole wall,
a whole trophy case to put the Campbell County wrestling trophies up. Now, let's talk about your 97 bracket. The first round, you're wrestling Mike Barnett from LaRue County, and you win that by a fall in 3 minutes, 38 seconds. So you get in, you get out, bam, bam, you remember what you used?
I don't know.
Okay, no, that's fine.
I don't remember a whole lot about it. All I remember was feeling sick to my stomach on that very first match.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
So when I was able to go through it all and actually got the pin out of it, I'm like, no way.
This can't be happening, right?
Right?
This is not real life. The quarterfinals, you're wrestling Josh Whitaker from Woodford County, and you win that by a 12-3 decision. And in case you don't know, Josh goes on in 98 and 99 from Woodford County, and he wins that weight class. He's two-time state champion. His videos are on the channel, so after you get done watching this Campbell County session, go back and watch Josh's so you can get the full story. You beat a good wrestler. Yeah, you beat a two-time state champion.
And that's the thing, like when I remember locking up with him, he was not an easy person to wrestle at all. He was a stout boy.
Oh, yeah.
But the one thing, again, that helped me out was my speed and being able to take down a lot. And that really helped me out there.
Yeah, and like I said, Josh's videos are on the channel. And when I was doing my research, I was like, oh, my gosh, man. And that's what I love having the bracket, having the history, is seeing who was there, who won it and never placed before, who was always on the cusp but never just could get across the hump, if you will. And beating Josh like that as he goes on to be a two-timer, was like, man, that's a big feather in the cap, man. The semifinals, you're wrestling. Is Scott in Campbell County?
They're Kenton County.
Kenton County. So you wrestle a Northern Kentucky foe, if you will, C.T. Watkins from Covington, Scott, and he goes on to get 5th place that year, C.T. does, and you win that by a 7-3 decision. So it's getting tighter.
Honestly, that probably might have been the biggest point spread I've ever had with CT.
Oh, really?
I wrestled with him my junior and senior year, and if there was anybody I probably wrestled the most, it was him. Because every single tournament that we had, every regional district tournament, the state tournament, every time I had to wrestle him, and I never could pin him. But we would always go over and over and over and over again. And I think I might be wrong, I don't know, but I think I got to beat him every single time. But we're talking 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. There wasn't anything there. He was He was my biggest competition
And
all the way throughout, but he's also an awesome dude too.
Yeah, I don't think
of
I've ever
respect.
met CT, but I mean, like somebody, close to your area. I'm sure at some point you guys saw each other outside of school,
Yeah.
or be out somewhere out on the town and run into him or whatever. But there's so many stories of like guys from Louisville, other guys from Northern Kentucky, the Christian County Hopkinsville. They had a couple years in a row. They had like 3 or 4 matches where Christian County and Hopkinsville had guys in the finals together, and their schools are only like 3 miles apart. But people having, I guess, a nemesis, if you will, or somebody that, like, if you step wrong, they're going to pin you.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they keep you honest. You know what I'm saying? They keep you focused in. Okay, now I can't let him beat me. I've got to do 2 more reps in the weight
Right.
room. I got to do 2 more laps than he's doing, because I know if I don't, he can get me.
Yeah. Well, and being able to wrestle somebody like him, your competition is what makes you better.
That's exactly
So,
right.
Being able to go up against CT over and over and over again. Like I said, we had a great mutual respect for each other. I mean, he was just an awesome guy to be
Right.
around. So, but on the mat, he was tough. Like, you couldn't make any kind of mistake. In the same way, it was, my wrestling partner a lot of times was Jason Boer.
Okay.
And I mean, the guy could pick me up and body slam me. He was just a beast. But being able to wrestle against somebody like that, it really hones your skills a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we go to who you're wrestling in the finals, the 1997, this finals in general might be one of the best overall finals. It's probably second or third behind 2014. But in 97, you had JoJo, you had Ian, you had Chris Dunn, you had Livingston Merritt at heavyweight. I mean, you just had just stud after stud after stud after stud coming through. And I was like, man, what a great year for wrestling. If you're going to, like, people ask me what my favorite years are to watch, it's probably somewhere in that 96, 97, they go back and forth, just because being able to put mat time with names, you know what I'm saying? Being able to see Joe wrestle, being able to see you wrestle, being able to see Ian Horn wrestle, it's just like, wow, that's, what a great year for Kentucky wrestling. But in the finals, you're wrestling Jimmy Cordell from McCreary Central. Both you guys are seniors. He gets there by a 3-2 decision over Josh Paninsky from Hoptown. His record, it says 44-2. Your record 36-2. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. I remember. I don't remember both matches I lost, but I do know the one I lost was up in Ohio to Princeton, I believe, and I think it was a 1-point loss.
I got you. And talking off camera, you said it's been a day or two since you've seen your
26 years.
26 years. And so we're at the dungeon under the lights. You win your semifinals match. What do you like go and just try to take a nap? Do you go eat? What do we do after we win that semifinals match?
Yeah, like literally after every single match, like you're ready to take a nap. You're ready to doze off so you can like build up your energy for the next match. But after that semifinals, when you finally know that you get to go into the finals, there was no resting. Like,
I understand.
Your nerves are completely shot up and your hair's standing on end the entire time you're sitting waiting on it.
Yeah.
And it was a pain, dude.
I can, and especially, for those that didn't get to experience it, the dungeon under the lights, was just a complete, it's the best atmosphere the KHSAA has ever created.
I don't think they do justice now.
No, they don't. They don't.
Man.
And it's not a knock to the KHSAA. I know they had to move it to GRC's gym for COVID and all that, and we understand that. Now it's going back to the horse park, and it should be in an arena. But until, you see the glow sticks, the beach balls, paper towel rolls flying. Just the lights are out, and everybody's just, the mat is right there. It feels like you're at, this is a big time pay-per-view MMA boxing level event, just the way that the professional wrestling, WrestleMania, whatever you want to put in that category, is being like, this is an event. The dungeon under the lights felt like this is a massive event. So enough of us talking. We're going to go back to the dungeon. You ready?
Yeah, anytime.
Let's do it. Music's going. Turn down the volume just a little bit.
Tom Naylor, one of my favorite referees of all time.
There you go, man. You get that photo wearing that big belt buckle. So here we go. Wearing that beautiful gold Campbell County singlet,
Right.
purple and gold. So what are we trying to do here? What's your go-to takedown? What are we looking to do?
Usually I would just, I don't even remember all the wrestling terms as well, but just being able to dive in and get in on his leg. That's usually where I was able to pick it up and then take him down that way. Or at the very least be able to sweep behind him.
Yeah,
And,
there he goes, trying for a slide by. There he
yeah, there
is.
you go.
Lift,
Yep.
lift.
Yep.
So you out of bounds, we're neutral.
And that was one of the things that Coach B and Coach Wilbers had always told me. He's like, use your speed. You've got a lot of height to you and super fast. So it's like, just use it. Use it
Right.
to your benefit. And that was always one of my biggest things was being able to take someone down. Like, I mean, Jimmy was strong. And I mean, like, he could muscle you around.
Yeah, you can tell he's a thick dude.
Yeah.
Of course, you are too, but
Well, I never felt it. I mean, I guess I always kind of was, but I never quite felt the same way. I always felt like everybody was going to be stronger than me coming out there, so it was always something else I had to work on, trying to make it up. But I mean, I was probably wrestling about 205 right there, so putting on 15 pounds of muscle,
there it is.
20 pounds of muscle
Two.
from my junior to senior year helped out a ton.
Do you have a lot of like family and friends in the crowd?
A bunch of friends. I mean, a bunch of guys and girls from the high school and
Right.
everything. My mom and dad's way up in the stands watching it all there.
And like, 97 kids, in case you don't know, you couldn't just, send out a Facebook group text
Right.
or what
No.
post on Facebook.
No.
I mean, you had to go to a payphone. Unless somebody in your crew had a cell phone back then.
I mean, our cellular phones were the big
Yeah,
bricks anyway.
but the Zach Morris style.
Right.
So here you go, trying to work like a bar on the back there.
Yep. And then, once you get it in there, you can get your arm up underneath and start twisting around. I mean, just, trying to work back through that all and everything. Like, it does bring back memories.
Oh, yeah.
So quickly. But, like, he was just tough. Like, you're breathing hard and heavy, and it's like you felt worn out, and you're not even out of the first period.
Yep. And the eyes of the state are on you.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's watching.
Leading all up to it and everything, you've got all these nerves and excitement. And, like I said, they really did it right by parading everybody around, announcing them. Like, you feel like you could jump about 30 feet high with how much energy you've got. And then as soon as you hit that, it's just like with the wall. And, you're completely focused in and forgetting about everything else. And, like, I could hear Coach Bandcamper and Wilbers hollering at me, telling me what I can do or what I should look for. But it's like the rest of the crowd really kind of drowns out a little bit. You don't really think much of it.
I got you. Now, start the second period. You won the toss, deferred, he took down. Was the defer just an automatic? Depends on the match, or
It really did depend on the match.
here we go. It's getting close.
It was, and I think I remember where I felt like it was like right there at the end of the first match. I'm like, I didn't get it. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. Walking, doing like you're supposed to, walking to the head. Come back, reset. That's smart. Sometimes you have to reset.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest thing is never lose your leverage.
Yep.
And, it can be easy to do, and that's what you see all the great ones do. Like Livingston Merritt and everything.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You never see that boy get out of position at all. Like, he was always just...
Unless he's doing a backflip, right? You
Right.
remember the backflip he did?
I do.
Yeah.
I may have tried my own version of a flip.
Yeah, well,
Hopefully we
I
don't
was
have
I
that
was
in
going to.
here.
That's why I brought that up.
All right.
It shows it. That's why I was
figured.
wanting you to. I kind of led you into that one. So there you go, bar on the back. You're stepping to the head.
Yep.
You get it over. This one's over. Doing exactly what you're supposed to.
And that was the part where I was starting to get a little too
Yep.
far out.
Too far over. You step back over, and it looks like he's flat, and he's
It looks like it, but
Yep.
he's got just enough of a curvature.
boom. There it is. Fall. Here we go. Let's. There we go.
You didn't have to show that one,
That was. The judges give it a 9.8.
In my head, it was a perfect 12.
It was beautiful, man. Beautiful. That was awesome. There it is, man. And this has a little bit of the. There you are, getting your bracket and your medal. on top of the world. And there's a young Josh Whitaker over to the left. So, watching it back, does it play out the way you remember it?
It does. And, you know, we're talking about the whole defer and everything. Again, it was match dependent, but, you know, Coach B, you'd always thought, you know, that is kind of where you want to do, you know, let them make that decision that way in the next period. If it goes there, it's all on you. So
And
it helped.
you kind of know what you have to do if you got to score, if you got to get a reversal, get an escape, whatever. And that's, I mean, it's doing this, you know, going across the state, meeting with different people, different coaches, different philosophies, if you will, about how people feel about winning the choice. We're taking down, we're getting up, we're deferring always. We want to know what we got to do. And I guess it's all just in your coaching, how you're programmed, how you're coached. We know we can get up on the bottom. We know we can get a reversal. We know we can do this. We know we're as good as anybody at getting to our feet or whatever. So it's kind of cool to, you know, get the mindset, if you will, of how everybody was coached. But man, you know, beautiful pen. All that hard work paid off.
It did. And, you know, you don't expect going into your final match that you're definitely going to get a pin. But, you know, I was expecting to just have a high-scoring match, but it didn't, or a very low-scoring match, depending on how it worked out. But that just worked unbelievably in my favor. Never expected it.
Like, you know, like the brackets, all at the end of it doesn't say it was pretty, doesn't say it was fast. It just says you are state champion, and that's all. That's what matters
the most, right?
That's it. You're in history books forever. So, man, thank you for being here today. I see a big ring on your finger.
I do. Well, that's the Hall of Fame ring.
Hall of Fame ring. So you're in the Hall of Fame here.
I am. Yes.
Are you in? I guess. If your name's beside Michael Ramsey's, we'll move it to put it into a. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I think Mike might be here already, but man, thank you for coming today. You're our leadoff, if you will. You're our start coming straight out of the gate with the Campbell County session. We've got about 12, 13 videos lined up today. Now, of course, when you're watching this, it won't be today, but just follow the playlist down. We have, like I said, about 12, 13 Campbell County guys and one girl that's going to be here. Telling their stories, watching their videos with them, so I can't wait to meet everybody. But man, anything to add to wrap this one up?
No, you know the funny thing about that,
you get to keep that.
Right on. Sweet. Was back in when that happened. It was February 21st and 22nd. 21st was my birthday.
Okay.
22nd was my celebration for my birthday.
I got you. I got you. No,
So
that's man, that's cool that, you know, stuff like that worked out. But thank you guys for watching. 1997, I was professional wrestling was my life, but it's cool to get to go back and you know, relive this with everybody and let everybody, you know, family, friends, now people that I guess you work with, who the way that the world is, you know, the world's a whole lot smaller. We can connect with people a whole lot easier than what we could back then. But that's all that we have today for Mr. Sainer, 1997. Stay tuned to the rest of the playlist, but until then, we'll see you guys on the mats.